Boys, today we are back, and in today's video I'm going to be going over and ranking the top 10 UFC featherweights by how likely they are to have the next title reign after Alexander Volkanovski fights one more time and retires, like I think he'll do. I think he's got one more in him. I think it's either going to be Gene Silva and gets knocked out and rides off into the sunset off a loss, or he fights Movsar Evloev, beats him, or loses like I think he will. I think Volk loses his next fight either way, but I think he's got one more in him. It's probably going to be a loss. Maybe he'll win. Who knows? He's boring. Nobody cares that he's gone. So I'm going to rank the top 10 UFC featherweights right now by their chances of having a reign like Alex Volkanovski once he does retire. Let's get straight into it. Yeah, Yusuf Zalal, you're coming in last. There's just no way. There's so much better guys than you on this list. You are in the top 10 of the UFC featherweight division, all right? You have some good wins. You slimed out Josh Emmett in a round, by submission, which is, pretty impressive. You've got some other decent wins. Calvin Kattar, that's not a decent win. You actually really haven't fought anyone good, so I'm waiting for you to get that next level jump up more than like a Josh Emmett to see where you're really at. But yeah, there's no way you're winning the belt or, being a long-reigning champion in this division. Next up, the number 3 ranked contender, I've got Yair Rodriguez. Who knows why he's still number 3? Who knows why he's even in the rankings? Who knows fucking anything about this guy? Does anyone know where this guy is? Does this guy still fight? I'm genuinely curious. The guy hasn't fought since he fought Pitbull last April, so it's almost been a year since we've seen this guy, and he just doesn't fight. We don't hear from shit from him. No high-ranked contender fights, no nothing fights. Just takes a fight against Pitbull, and don't forget he claimed to want a title shot after that fight. He's begging for a title shot, saying he should get one after beating Pitbull, who we found out is just ass. So. Yeah, Yair Rodriguez coming in at the 9th spot. There's no way he's just ever gonna win anything. He's not going to win the belt. He's a sick striker. He just doesn't fight enough, not active enough, and he doesn't beat the top guys. I think all the top guys that I'm going to go over, beat him at this stage in his career. So, yeah, maybe if he was active, if he was winning fights, but he lost to Brian Ortega in like one of his recent fights. I know that was, already back in 2024, early 2024, so that was a long time ago. But that's one of his most recent fights because he doesn't fight. So you can't win the belt and be a long-range champion if you don't fight. Plus, he's on the older side of the featherweight division, so he's never winning anything. Moving on, I do have Steve Garcia above Yusuf Zalal and above Yair Rodriguez just because he's active. I think he just has a better chance of winning the belt. Do I think he'll ever get the belt? No. Do I think he's a nasty guy for the division? Yes. Do I think he's a great striker? Yes. Am I a fan? Yes. So, you know what? Might as well put Steve Garcia up in the 8th position. Am I dumb? Nope, that is 8th. Yep, Steve Garcia up in the 8th position. Do I think he beats Diego Lopez? Probably not. Although, I don't know. That's going to be a banger fight on the White House card. I'm not mad at that. Steve Garcia, obviously, an American guy, obviously friends with, you know who. I don't know why I'm laughing, but anyway, him versus Diego Lopez should be a banger fight. Do I think he beats Diego Lopez? Probably not, but it's probably going to be a close fight. I don't know, and it's probably going to be a banger because both guys love to scrap it out, so stand and trade, so. And Steve Garcia is not one of those guys that just sit on the back foot like Volk and just be boring as fuck. Nope, he goes out there, goes for finishes. So I could see him if he beats Diego Lopez, he's right there. He's like one or two away from fighting for the belt. So can he do it? I don't know if he can be a champion, but can he beat Diego Lopez and get up, in that top 5? Yes. But do I think he'll be a long-reigning champion? No. Do I think he has a better chance than Yair and Yusuf Zalal? Yes. Moving on, I do have Arnold Allen. Sadly, probably isn't going to happen either, although he's really high level. He almost beat Gene Silva. He was one round away from beating Gene Silva, but he just can't beat the top guys. He beats everyone except, obviously, he lost to Max Holloway, lost to Movsar, lost to Gene Silva. Those are, some of the top guys. Max Holloway, obviously, one of the, featherweight goats, couldn't get by him. Couldn't get by Movsar, the number 1 contender, undefeated guy, and then couldn't get by Gene Silva, which, I don't know. Gene Silva didn't even, patient Gene Silva, obviously, he's good, but in my opinion, Gene Silva looked way better in that fight with Diego Lopez than he did in that fight with Arnold Allen, even though he lost. He was tagging up Diego Lopez heavy. I thought he was going to get the finish in that second round. That was my fight of the year, easily, in 2025. That was such a banger fight. But other than Mateus Graham versus Charles Oliveira, that was also a banger fight. But Arnold Allen, yeah, he's probably never going to win the belt, sadly. He struggles against the really top level guys. He like beats everyone, but then when he gets in the top five, it's like he just can't push. He can't get over the edge. Him versus Yair would be a good fight to get him into the top five, but Yair doesn't fight. Arnold's coming off of a few losses. He's fighting Melky Costa next. That should be a win for him. I think he's at levels above Melky Costa, so hopefully he gets back in the win column. But do I think he'll be a long-reigning champion in this division? No. Do I think he has even potential to become like a number one ranked contender or the champion? No. Do I think he has a better chance than Steve Garcia, Yair Rodriguez, and Yusuf Zal? Yes, because I think he's way levels above those guys. Moving on. I do have Lerone Murphy in the 10, 9, 8, 7, in the 6th spot. Yeah, I don't know. That fight with Movsar didn't impress me. I know he got hurt in the 4th round, but I don't know. I just don't see it with Lerone Murphy. He hasn't beat top-ranked guys. He beat Edson Barboza, Josh Emmett. Like, bro, a win against Josh Emmett's not that impressive, let's be real. Spinning knockout Aaron Pico, but as we learned, Aaron Pico probably not that high level either, coming over from Bellator after he got chinned like fucking 6 times there, so... Doesn't have the best wins. Was fighting a good fight against Movsar. I thought it was a draw. If he didn't get that point taken away, I thought he did lose. But started off the fight well, in my opinion. Won the first 2 rounds. Looked good, but just I don't know. He's just a worse Volkanovski. Like, he's just a boring, like, on the outside, sits on the outside, leg kicks, jabs every once in a while, one big, like, fucking right hand around. He's just a more boring Volk, less skilled Volk, so... I just don't see it. I don't think he'll become champion. This fight, if he beat Movsar Evloev, then obviously he was fighting like Volk next, obviously. But if you can't get past, Movsar was beating him in the striking too in some points in the fight. And Movsar's a decent striker, but I don't know. I just don't see it with Lerone. I've got him in the 6th spot. After this past performance, I just don't see it. I don't think he beats any of the guys in front of him. And yeah, his takedown defense is just not that good. And every single one of his fights, he got taken down in the last 3 rounds of this past fight with Movsar. He got shown levels on the ground, couldn't stop a takedown. Does a good job of getting back up. Now, Movsar isn't really known for holding guys down, although he did hold Aljo and Diego Lopez down. I don't know. Lerone did good in the grappling once he got back up, but there's too many good guys. He doesn't have enough power he has no finishing ability to put these guys away unless he flukes a spinning elbow. I just don't see it. So Lerone Murphy in the 6th spot probably will never be champion, but he'll probably be a top 6, top 7 guy for as long as he stays at featherweight. Moving on. In the 5th, wait. Hold on. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Okay, yeah. 5th position. I do have Aljamain Sterling. Now, do I think he'll go on a title reign like Volk? No, but do I think he has a good chance of getting the belt? Yes, I do. I think honestly, even if Volk wins against his next contender or the other guy wins, I think he has a good shot. Maybe one more win for Aljo against Yusuf Zalal. If he goes out there and beats Yusuf Zalal, like I think he will, I think Aljamain Sterling does beat Yusuf Zalal. I think he shows levels in the grappling, although he could get submitted by Zalal. That's honestly a tough fight, and I don't mind Aljo. I actually kind of fuck with Aljo. So yeah, I've got Aljo in the 5th spot. I think he beats every single guy I just went over. I think he ragdolls Lerone Murphy. I think he beats Arnold Allen with grappling. I think he beats Steve Garcia with grappling. I think he beats Yair with grappling. Him versus Yusuf Zalal is honestly the toughest matchup for him because Yusuf's a really good grappler. But Aljo looked like he had decent striking in that Brian Ortega fight, even though Brian Ortega was like a shell of himself at 145. Aljo had decent, kept it on the feet most of that fight and had pretty decent striking. So his striking's a little underrated. Do I think he can beat the 4 guys in front of him? Honestly, with the right game plan, like with the 4 guys in front of him, obviously I'm going to talk about Movsar later, and he did lose to Movsar. That was a really close fight, though. I could see him beating the 3 other guys using grappling. Maybe not the guy I have in first, but the other 2, I can see him beating them. So if he gets past Yusuf Zalal, if Volk wants like a legacy fight, another champion, I could see him pushing for that, and Aljamain getting a title shot, or if Aljamain beats Yusuf Zalal, beats like a obviously you guys know Diego Lopez, Gene Silva, Movsar, and I'm going to save my number 1 spot for who I think will be champion. Obviously, if you were watching this video, you probably know because I just said the other names. But if he fights like a Diego, maybe he fights like a Gene Silva after he beats Yusuf and gets that win, then he's fucking right there for the title shot. I think he'll get it, the title shot. Even if Volk retires at that point, and then him versus him versus like a Movsar rematch for like the vacant belt, him versus Gene Silva, Diego Lopez. I think he's got a good chance of beating all those guys. It just depends on how long he sticks around. If he loses to Zalal, he's probably going to retire, in my opinion, or like maybe just fight like fun fights, maybe try to like, I don't know, get some crazy matchup. I have no idea. But if he beats Yusuf Zalal, he's right in there for the title. And I think him with his grappling beats a lot of these top guys. But with that being said, even though I do think he'd make it close with this guy, I do have Gene Silva in the 4th spot. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Can I see Gene Silva getting the belt? Yes. Only one reason, because I think UFC is going to make Gene Silva versus Volk next, and I think Gene Silva probably slams out Volk. But if this was like merit based, if this was like fucking logical, if we followed the rankings, this guy would need like 1 to 2 more wins. Why are we giving this guy who's coming off a 1-fight win streak? He only has a 1-fight win streak. He lost to Diego Lopez. Why are we giving this guy a title shot? I don't know. In my perfect world, he fights like a Yair Rodriguez. He fights a Aljo. That would have been a great fight. He fights a fucking Movsar. Movsar should get the title. He fights a Lerone off a loss. Like, could we have someone with more than a 1-fight winning streak fight for the belt? I know this guy's going to get the next title shot. It sucks. I know. It's bullshit. I know. It shouldn't happen. Is he exciting? Yes. Is he more exciting than Volk? Yes. Do I like him more than Volk? Yes. Is he annoying outside of the cage? Yes. But the guy probably should be fighting 1 more fight, 1 or 2 at least, bro. Like, fucking hell, he just got beat by Diego Lopez not that long ago, but he's probably gonna get the title shot. But yes, I do think he beats everyone behind him that I just listed. I think he knocks probably everyone on them out except Arnold Allen. He already fought. I think he pieces up Steve Garcia. I think he pieces up Yair. Although the length of Yair might be challenging. I think he beats Yusuf Zalal. I think he beats Lerone Murphy, just based off power and finishing ability. Him versus Aljo would be a great scrap. I'm not going to lie. Aljo with the takedowns. Gene Silva's got crazy submissions. He was able to avoid Bryce Mitchell's grappling and get a submission off, sting him on the feet. That would be a really good fight. Gene Silva versus Aljo would be a great fight. I wish they made that fight, but yeah, 4th spot. I do see Gene Silva being able to get the belt, but the guys coming up and in front of him, those would be tough fucking fights for Gene Silva. I'm not gonna lie, especially the more patient Gene Silva that we've seen, the less output, the less crazy Gene Silva. I think if he fought like he used to before that, Diego Lopez fight, that crazy style, and even in the Diego Lopez fight, he fought crazy. But after that, in the Arnold Allen fight, he fought a lot more measured, a lot more composed. If he fought crazy, I'd say this guy will knock anyone out. The dude was fucking invincible, fucking had hella aura. I can't believe I just said that, but it's true. Like, the guy was fucking untouchable until that Diego Lopez lost. Lopez, like, genuinely took his fucking soul and some of his soul in that fight, genuinely. But yeah, can I see Gene Silva getting the belt? Yes. Do I see him going on a long title reign? No, because I think the guys above him can beat him. And a guy above him is Diego Lopez, who I do have in the 3rd spot. I do think in a rematch, Diego Lopez would probably still beat Gene Silva. I'm not going to lie. I think Diego Lopez is a higher skill level than Gene Silva, but I don't see him getting the belt anytime soon. I don't see him going on I see one guy being a long reigning champion in this division. One guy, and I'm going to get to him. But do I think he can have a reign like Volk? No, there's so many good fucking guys. A rematch with Gene Silva would be a tough fight. I do think he wins. A fight with Aljo would be tough just because of the grappling. There's just so many good guys at featherweight right now. I think he'd beat Lerone Murphy pretty easily. Maybe not, though, because he didn't beat Volk, and Volk and Lerone are kind of like the same guy. I think he'd beat Arnold Allen. I think he's going to slime out Steve Garcia. I think he'd beat Yair. Him versus Yusuf Zalal. Yusuf would make it boring, but I think Diego Lopez would make that a fun little fight. So yeah, I think Diego Lopez beats a lot of these guys. Can I see him going on a long run like Volkanovski? Obviously, these guys aren't going to have runs like Volkanovski, but can I see him getting like 2-3 title defenses? No, I can't. I can only see one guy doing that. And I'm down to 2 people left. Coming in at the 2nd spot, I do have Movsar Evloev. I do. Do I think he can get the belt? Yes. Do I think he beats Volk in his next fight? Yes. Do I think if he actually shoots for takedowns against guys and goes for takedowns and pushes the pace for 5 rounds, do I think he beats it? Do I think he beats everybody on this list that I just mentioned? Yes, I do. I think he beats Diego Lopez in a rematch using grappling. His striking's underrated. If he can avoid the submissions by Diego, I think he makes that look a little easier. I'm not going to lie. Do I think he beats Gene Silva? That would be kind of a crazy fight because Gene Silva has so much finishing ability on the ground. You saw what he did to Bryce Mitchell. Evloev's like levels above Bryce Mitchell, but still. I don't know. He's undefeated. He's Dagestani. Like, he doesn't get a lot of finishes, though, so he'd take most of these guys to decision. I genuinely believe Movsar Evloev beats everybody on this list, and I think he beats Volk next if they make that fight. If they make Volkanovski versus Evloev next, Evloev will be the champion. So that's why he's so high on this list. He will be champion. Do I think he can get a couple title defenses? Yes, I do. Probably two title defenses. And yeah, I think he's the second best featherweight on earth right now, behind Volkanovski. But the guy I have in first, he's just getting better. He's leveling up. This isn't a crazy take. This is not a crazy take. Kevin Vallejos is genuinely the future of this division. He's going to go on an Ilya, on a Volk, on a fucking crazy. If he stays at 145, he will be one of the featherweight goats. I swear to God. I truly believe that in my mind. This is not rage bait. This dude's fucking unstoppable. I don't know who beats this guy. I think he chins Movsar Evloev, genuinely. I think he shucks off the takedowns and has so much power on the feet. He goes in there fucking Ilya style and just boxes the fuck out of him. Finishes Evloev. I swear to God, I think that. That's why I don't see any of these guys fucking going on a long range, like a long win streak, because of this guy right here. This motherfucker, this like 23-year-old or however old he is. This dude's a fucking problem. I'm telling you guys, this guy will be a long reigning champion. I think he slams out Evloev. I think he rocks the fuck out of Diego Lopez. Gene Silva almost had Diego Lopez out of there. I think Kevin Vallejos hits way harder than Gene Silva. I think Kevin Vallejos goes straight at fucking Diego Lopez and knocks him out. Genuinely. I think he beats Gene Silva in a rematch. The more measured, less crazy Gene Silva, I think Kevin Vallejos boxes the fuck out of him. Low kicks. Chews up Gene Silva's leg. I'm telling you, this guy's the fucking future. I'm such a big Kevin Vallejos fan after that last performance. The guy's just a mini Ilya. It's like Ilya Topuria is still in the featherweight division. That's what it is. You lost Ilya in the featherweight division and gained another Ilya with this motherfucker. I think he murks. I think he probably fucking... We haven't really seen him get tested that much in the grappling, but Josh Emmett was shooting takedowns dry, not that, late into the round. And Kevin Vallejos just shucked him off. Now, Josh Emmett's not known as a grappler, but still, unironically, I think that the fight with Aljo would be, one of the hardest, as well as Evloev, just because of the grappling. But I think he knocks out Aljamain. I think he literally knocks out every guy on this list. I'm not going to lie. He has the potential to knock out every guy on this list. I see Kevin Vallejos as the next Volkanovski of the division, except 10 times more exciting, 10 times more fucking fun to watch, 10 times better. This guy's the whole package. I don't see how he loses. I genuinely don't. And I'm not glazing. This is not glazed, but this guy is genuinely one of my new favorite fighters. I don't know who he fights next. Give him Yair. Give him Lerone off a loss. I could see them doing that. Him versus Lerone. And he goes out there and starches the fuck out of Lerone. And then he's top 5. And then maybe he fights one more and then gets the belt. El Chino Kevin Vallejos will be a long-reigning champion in this division. 4, 5, 6 title defenses. He'll become one of the featherweight goats. That's my opinion. That's my prediction. Let me know what you guys think of my list in the comments. Do you think Kevin Vallejos has the opportunity? Are you as high on him as I am? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about my list. Having Movsar second, Aljamain's up there. I have Aljamain a little higher than probably some other people, but let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. El Chino's coming for the belt, and he's going to be there for a long time. Peace.